Hello and welcome to another episode of the Phoenix Wisdom Podcast. I am your host, Janet Sandberg. I am a intuitive coach, Reiki master, and channel who helps you figure out who you are, why you're here, what's holding you back, and how to move forward with confidence and clarity. And my brain is totally not working today. So bear with me as I search for words today. I do this podcast to help people find hope and inspiration and to share stories because we don't talk about these things enough. Today, we are joined by Adriene Caldwell, who has her own inspiring story to share. Adrienne, welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a privilege to speak with your audience and with you.
Thanks. So, let's start by learning a little bit about you. Tell us about yourself.
My name's Adriene Caldwell. I'm the author of a soon-to-be-released book, Unbroken, Life Outside the Lines. It covers my life from early childhood to about early 20s. And during this time, I was either the witness to or the victim of the sexual assault of a young girl, the drowning death of another child, emotional and physical abuse, extreme poverty, mental illness, homelessness, horrifically abusive foster care, bulimia, drug and alcohol addiction, pedophilia, death, incest, and of course, suicide.
Oh my gosh. You are definitely unbroken. But now you are. I'm guessing that there were times where you didn't always feel this triumphant and together.
Absolutely. My first suicidal gesture was at the age of 15. I was actually living in the foster care home. And I had been diagnosed with major depressive disorder. I had seen the psychiatrist that afternoon. And in my mind, I thought that being diagnosed with that meant that I was defective, that I was not whole, that I was, that there was something wrong with me. And that desperation turned into me taking my razor apart and cutting my wrists. Now, the cuts weren't deep. It wasn't life-threatening. But the horrifically abusive foster home that I mentioned, the woman, and I refuse to name her, what I call her is the bitch from hell. And in my book, that's how I refer to her, the bitch from hell, TBFH. And she actually looked at him and said, "You didn't even do it right. You're supposed to slit along the vein."
Oh my God.
Yeah. And that's just like a tiny nugget of the environment and what I was living through for the 3 years that I was under her roof.
Oh my gosh, that's long.
I graduated from college in August of 2001 with an international business degree, and then 9/11 happened. So in my early 20s, I went to college under a program. I think most states have it, where if the state is your guardian, if you're a ward of the state, you're allowed to go to any public state institution and they waive the tuition and fees.
Okay.
So that's how I was able to go to college. But graduating with that degree, I knew a little accounting, a little finance, a little marketing, a little communications, but I didn't specialize in anything. It wasn't like I could become a teacher or a counselor or an accountant.
Mm-hmm.
So I struggled, and I had multiple suicide attempts, and uh, the first one, well, I guess the second one that I'll share, I struggled first with drug addiction in college.
Okay.
I did a very large amount of cocaine in a very short amount of time,
Oh,
5 months. But I realized that if I stayed on that path, that I was going to ruin my life. So I took
good.
steps, I changed my environment, and I became drug free.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I substituted alcohol. I continued self-medicating.
Right.
So here I am, early 20s, college graduate with no job prospects whatsoever. Just moving from one man to the next. I mean, I say that I went through men. I tried on men the way other women try on clothes,
Mm.
and I was very exploitive. I'm not sure, but yeah, I just went from who would support me to who has more income, who is a better choice, and I instead of
You just
climbing
traded
the
up.
corporate ladder, yeah, I traded up with men, and there were multiple suicide. I don't actually know the number of times I've attempted suicide,
Oh.
because one of them was actually during a functional blackout. Not many people know this, but if you mix Prozac with alcohol, you get functioning blackout.
Oh my God.
And my best friend, I've known him since 8th grade. He's the only person that I've ever stayed in contact with. I went through 13 schools by the time I
Oh.
graduated high school. But he witnessed my functional blackouts. I would talk, I would function, God forgive me, I would drive. And the next day, I had absolutely no recollection of it whatsoever.
Wow.
It's like the lights were on, but nobody was home.
Hmm.
And one day I woke up in a hospital bed, and I'm wearing a hospital gown. I'm laying in this hospital bed. I have no idea what's going on. And my Aunt Rose, she raised me after my mother relinquished parental rights. I lived with her periodically, but she was standing in the doorway and she said, "Adrienne, you tried to kill yourself." And I said, "No, I didn't." And she said, "No, you swallowed a bottle of pills." I completely denied it
Yeah.
because I had no memory of doing that. And it wasn't until the doctor showed me the toxicology report showing that I had downed like 120 Xanax
Oh my.
that I actually believed that I had attempted suicide. And when I got my car back, because I had apparently done this in my car,
Mm.
I had regurgitated some of the pills and I could see the mess on my dashboard.
Wow.
And that's when I was like,
Oh, I
okay,
really did.
yes, I really did. So that's my level of desperation and how badly I wanted the pain to stop. That in a functional blackout, completely blackout drunk, I tried to kill myself. So my attempts were not cries for help. They were desperate pleas to be released
Mhm.
from from my life. And my very last attempt, I actually went over to Aunt Rosa's house. I asked my little cousin to get me his father's 9mm. I told him he was around 11 years old. I said, I want to use it for target practice. And so he went and he got me the gun. And I was driving up and down the Houston highways. I pulled over somewhere up north and I fired a test shot in a field. So I knew I had a working gun. And I, got back in my car from the field and I panicked and I disassembled the gun. And I had been drinking, not as heavily as I was used to. I had only had a 6-pack, which, I mean, only. But when you're drinking 12 to 15 a day,
oh my God,
6 isn't really a lot.
Right.
Everything's relative.
Yeah.
So I got back to the parking lot for my apartment complex. And I was sitting in the driver's seat and I had worked my courage back up. So I reassembled the gun and I put it to my temple and I pulled the trigger and it went click. And I pulled the trigger again, click. And I looked at it to figure out what was wrong because I knew the gun worked. I had had that test shot. And the safety had engaged not even a millimeter. It was like a hair's breadth. It was just the tiniest little bit it had engaged. And my Aunt Rose was calling because, of course, her son, my cousin, had told her that I had the gun. And she was begging me to come up to her beauty shop. And she told me that she just needed to see me. She needed to see me with her own eyes. And I made her promise not to call the police. And she promised. So as I was approaching the intersection, it was eerily quiet. And, my inner voice, the voice that had saved me repeatedly in the past, excuse me, my inner voice, alarm bells were going off. And as soon as I drove through the intersection and parked, I was immediately swarmed by 4 or 5 patrol cars. They approached me, weapons out, guns out. Ma'am, well, I was armed.
I guess
I was armed and
that
suicidal.
Extreme for somebody who's suicidal, but yes, you did have a firearm.
I had a weapon in my car.
Yeah.
And so they asked me to step out. They asked me where the gun was. I told them. And they handcuffed me, put me in the back of the patrol car. And of course, all this time, my aunt was standing on the pavement watching everything. And I was so angry with her because she betrayed my trust. And I refused to make eye contact. I refused to talk to her. And she was saying, Adrienne, I'm doing this for your own good. I'm scared for you. This is for you. And that I was taken to the nearest hospital and checked into the psych ward.
Okay. And
hours went by and I found this empty room. It had a rectangular window just near the door. So there was a little bit of light, but I was just laying on the floor. And after a while, I felt this overwhelming sense of peace, calmness, tranquility. And it just came over me. And I really don't have the right words to describe it. It's not that everything was immediately better and gone, but I had the realization that I was on this earth for a purpose and that I was not going to be released until I had met my purpose. And that was my last suicide attempt ever.
Wow.
Yes. So I pulled the trigger not once, but twice. So
Wow. And yeah, obviously you were meant to be here. I mean, that many attempts and being unsuccessful that many times, like the odds, right? That
yes.
you were meant to be here.
Yes.
So what happened after? How long did you stay in the hospital?
So they kept me for 3 days. And then Aunt Rose told me that Uncle John was going to press charges because I had stolen his gun. I had taken his gun without his permission. Aunt Rose told me that
True.
he was going to press charges if I did not get some help. And so
Okay.
I went into intensive outpatient therapy where I was doing 4 to 6 hours of therapy a day for,
Mhm.
I don't know if it was 4 or 6 or 8 weeks,
Mhm.
but it was very intensive therapy. And Aunt Rose, God bless her, I swear we went to at least 10 psychiatric appointments trying to find an antidepressant that worked for me. I mean,
Mm.
we went through almost like all
All of
of
them.
the, yeah. So, but yeah, she has been through hell and back with me, and now I have a life that if you had told the 15-year-old me or the 21-year-old me that I would have the life that I do today, I would have called you a liar.
Yeah.
I would not have believed it because
Mhm.
I am so truly blessed to have the life that I do now. I have an incredible husband and an amazing daughter, even though she really is a pain in the butt. The apple did not fall far.
Yeah.
But it it really was yeah, life changing events, formative events. And what I what I'm hoping for with my book, I will consider it a success if I make a truly profound, impactful change in one person's life.
Yes.
If I can accomplish that, just one person, but a true change,
Mhm.
something more than just, make them feel better for a while.
Mhm.
Give them hope. Let them see that if she can go through that and survive it and come out the other side, then
Yeah.
I can do the same. If I
Absolutely.
accomplish that, then it will have been worth it. Because writing it's been 4 years of hell,
Yeah.
absolute hell, because I am very effective at compartmentalizing
Mhm.
and pushing down.
Well, you have to
So,
be. I mean, that's how
yeah,
you survived.
I put each trauma in a metaphorical box, and the box went on the metaphorical shelf, and I closed the
Mhm.
metaphorical door,
Yeah.
and everything just stayed repressed.
Yeah.
And writing this book, Unbroken, has forced me to take each box out and re-examine it and look at it. And yeah, it's been hell. It's been hell. But I think it's not just for other people. I think I was meant to do this
Yeah.
as as part of my path and a means for me to grow as
Mhm.
well
Yeah.
rather than stagnate. So
Absolutely.
um yeah.
Yeah. And
So
now all of
now
those boxes aren't taking up space.
yeah, I keep trying to shove them back in.
Well,
Please, just
yeah.
a little bit at a time. And my husband, God bless him, he is so ready for me to be done, because he comes home from, a 12-hour workday, he comes home from, a 12-hour workday, and he wants his happy, yay, 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 rah, rah wife, not the, oh dear God, I just talked about suicide wife. So he's been a champ about it, and just he is also very ready for me to be finished writing it. And I'm still undecided about book number 2, because unfortunately the hits didn't stop coming after my early 20s. There were some more traumas, and I will save that for another day.
All right.
Yeah, hopefully somebody will hear this story, and hopefully they will just reach out for help, whether it's wannatalkabout.com or friend or relative. Just reach out to somebody, because no matter where you are, you heard my list of traumas. There's not much that I haven't been through. And I am telling that person who's listening that just take one step, just take a baby step, and then just another step and another. And in a very short period of time, you're going to have some distance between you and the trauma, and you'll be able to see it from a different point of view. And you may even be able to become hopeful about it. So just know that what you're feeling, just because you're feeling it right now, doesn't mean that you're always going to feel that way.
Yes, absolutely. What were some of those baby steps that you took?
Well, medication to begin with.
The right
medication. And as I mentioned, when I was 15 and I got the diagnosis, I didn't handle it well. And it took somebody telling me a couple of things. First, that when you experience trauma, your brain stops making the chemicals, the happy chemicals that your body needs. Trauma physically affects the brain, and you don't produce them anymore. So taking medication, I compare it to a diabetic needing insulin. Nobody looks down on a diabetic for needing insulin because their body doesn't produce it. That would be ridiculous. Nobody judges a diabetic. And that's exactly how I feel about my antidepressants. I will be on them until the day I die. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
And I don't do traditional therapy. I lived my foster home situation was a quote unquote therapeutic foster home. So I had a therapist come out every other week. And just talk therapy isn't for me. And as well as I'm doing right now, I do still have episodes. I've got MDD, recurring moderate, and I have an appointment next week with the psychiatrist because I want to explore TMS. Have you heard of it?
No.
Transcranial magnetic something.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And what the science is saying is the neurons in your brain, when you go through trauma, and in fact, people with complex PTSD, which I've been diagnosed with, I'm definitely a CPTSD survivor.
Yeah.
That there is actual damage to your brain. You have brain damage when you have this. And the neural connections, when you go through trauma, are damaged, they wither, they die. And this procedure, which you've heard of, like ultrasonic waves that can like break up gallstones and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. Well, there are these waves that stimulate the neurons in your brain, or the neural connections, I should say, so that they start regrowing. They start reconnecting with each other, and
Mm,
um, start healing. They heal.
amazing.
So, and what's truly amazing for American healthcare, my insurance covers it.
Ah, even better.
So, yeah. It's kind of intense. They want 5 days a week for 6 weeks, so
Oh,
36
okay.
treatments. Well, that would be 30. So maybe they want an extra 1 or 2 weeks. I'm not sure,
Okay.
but I just know that I'm not done growing,
Yeah.
and that so I'm not open to cognitive behavioral therapy. I just feel like I've done it.
Yeah.
There's not much that they can say that I don't already know myself,
Hmm.
and I hope that doesn't sound snobby or
No.
self-righteous, but um, that it just doesn't work for me. So, and I am well, but I think you can always be better, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm gonna give it a shot. So
Amazing. You'll have to
I'm actually
let us
excited
know how
about
it
it.
is.
Yeah.
There's a woman on TikTok that I've seen a couple of times, and I keep forgetting to follow her whenever she comes by on my feed. But she's doing something similar for
Okay.
her depression. Um, and I don't know if it's the magnetic thing or if it's something else, but it's something along those lines where, she has a lot of sessions, and then she's gradually healing, and her mind is blown. She's like, you know, here's all the things that I did today. She's like, and they're all just like regular everyday things. But
Right.
for somebody with severe depression, doing that number of things on any given day is a lot. And she's like, and like, I have energy, I'm doing them, it's not overwhelming. Like, she's like, this is crazy. Like, how am I able to do all of this? And she's like, all I'm doing is going for these appointments, and like, it doesn't even feel like she's struggling or like trying really hard to heal, but whatever these treatments are doing the healing for her. And
Next time you come across her, if you'll just send me, carrier pigeons, fine. Just let me know. I've heard of EMDR as
Mhm.
well,
Yep.
and then of course there's ketamine infusion. So for people where therapy hasn't worked or the medications haven't worked, that's another thing I would say to people struggling. You have many more options nowadays
Oh yeah.
than ever before historically.
Yes. They're
So
always coming up
try
with new
those
things.
those different options.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Um,
So, about how old-ish were you when you felt like, life is coming together, and I kind of feel like maybe I'm over the hump a little bit, and doing, you know, doing normal,
um, well, I had my daughter when I was 25, and for the first 3 months, I was convinced that I couldn't raise her.
Mhm.
And of course, I was off my antidepressants during the
Right.
pregnancy. Like I had a prescription waiting for the day I gave birth.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, and I started to do better, but like I mentioned earlier, I've had some real whammies
Mhm.
from 25 on. And I would say that my life really around age 37, 38 is when I've started to feel to feel whole. And yeah, I had how this whole thing started with the book. When I got out of CPS care about 2 years later, I wrote to them and I asked for my case files. And they sent me this giant box, and it was 2 stacks just full of every document that had ever been written about me, like my CPS intake, 2 psychological evaluations, my first psych eval, I'm actually including in the back of my book. Um, and so the monthly reports from the therapeutic foster home, what I would love. So I am not the first person to write a trauma memoir.
Right.
But what I would love would be for my book, and this is my secondary audience. Primary is, people who are struggling or have struggled, who need to see the light. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. But I would love for my book to be used in curriculum for students studying psychology or counseling with a focus on childhood trauma. Because I not only have the firsthand account, I have the clinical component to it as well. And these documents, I've uploaded them to my website.
Oh my God.
So you can see, as I'm writing my book and going through it, you can follow it clinically.
Wow.
So I'm being put in touch with a woman who's writing a curriculum, and I hope to speak with her. But yeah, right now, even if I have to write out, postcards with a QR code for an advanced reader copy book, I don't have that marketing plan quite mapped out, but I would really like that. And the reason how I came up with this idea was because I sent the manuscript to my psychiatrist, and she asked if her intern could read it. And the feedback I got from the intern was that it helped her incredibly with understanding, and it even helped her choose her field that she was going to practice in. So with that feedback, that's when kind of the light bulb went off, and I thought, hey, maybe this could actually be a real thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's amazing. I love that.
Thank you.
And
Thank
having, I worked in a mental health counseling office for a while. So I'm just like, I'm thinking about, the child therapists and everybody, and thinking like, yeah, that would be really good. And of course, for the students who are currently, going through, just to put the pieces together. This is clinically what it looks like, but this is what it looks like in real life, right?
Yes, exactly.
This is how it results in behaviors and experiences, and
and later on, without the coping mechanisms to deal with the traumas, the self-medicating, the violence, all of it. And it took me 3 decades to go through that box. I couldn't. I tried several times, and I couldn't read it.
No.
And so I started going through it when I was around 40. And I got so angry about my treatment when I was in foster care that I reached out to lawyers, I reached out to judges, I reached out to CPS people, and basically everyone just said it was too late. And so I did the only thing I could do. I started writing about it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's the most that I can imagine, like actually having, being an adult and remembering your childhood is one thing, but having, documented proof of everything is an entirely different thing. I can't even imagine how angry that would make me. And I didn't even live it, just.
I had one beta reader where she was like, you definitely went through it. You've got the receipts to prove it.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, I do.
Well, I am
So,
so happy that the universe or whoever was out there watching over you kept you here so that you could put your experiences on paper and like you said, help change somebody's life in a profound way, help educate the people up and coming therapists and whatever other people will be helping kids who have been through hopefully nothing as bad, but unfortunately those things
right.
keep happening.
They do. They do.
As much as we
And
try to
awareness
change it.
around mental health. I want to release my book on Tuesday, October 7th. That week is
Mhm.
Mental Health Awareness Week.
All right.
So I'd like to have the launch. And
Perfect.
it'll just be the ebook and the audio book. My publisher won't be able to get the print book out in time, but
That's okay. Soft
yeah,
launch on Mental Health Week.
yeah.
And honestly, the people who, the same reason that I'm doing this as a podcast, because it's easy for the people who are in it to just listen to something
Mm,
that is going to give them some hope. It doesn't take a lot of mental energy. It doesn't take a lot of physical energy. You can lay in bed in the dark and listen to a podcast. You can lay in
right,
bed in the dark and listen to an ebook. So
right.
I think that is the perfect way to launch it.
Thank
Um,
you. Thank you. I
yeah.
wanted to real quick mention I have something called depression rules,
Okay.
and I told my best friend this. He suffers as well. And so the rules are at least eat once a day,
Yes.
shower twice a week, just,
Yes.
shower twice a week,
Hmm.
and sleep as much as possible. And no guilt. Do not feel guilt when you don't answer your phone, your email, your text.
Hmm.
Just, when you're pulling the ostrich move, head in the sand, forgive yourself, allow yourself that time, and just try to do those things. Eat, shower a bit occasionally,
Hmm.
and give yourself a break. Don't beat yourself up emotionally, because for me, I feel guilty about being depressed.
Hmm.
So those are my depression rules.
Love it. Love it. I think for me, I would have to modify the sleep one because that's my coping mechanism when I'm
Mm,
depressed. I will just sleep like 24/7 so I don't have to
yes.
experience life. So for me it would be like force myself to be awake for a few hours a day.
Well, that's the
So
initial when you're first in it.
yeah.
You can't stay like that forever,
No,
but
but
sometimes you
everything
need
else you
some
can stay with.
time.
Yeah. Oh, for
Yeah.
sure. For sure. Yeah.
So
Yeah. I love it. And it's good to have those rules. We used to have a at our other house and then we lost it when we moved. We had sort of like a little printout on the back of the bathroom door for, if you're feeling like everything is terrible, here's a little checklist. Have you showered? Have you brushed your teeth? Have you eaten yet? Have you had a glass of water today? Have you, like all just very, very basic, simple things.
mhm.
Have you had enough sleep? Have you all of these things? But sometimes you got to go back to those very simple, basic things. And it's like, oh, well, oh, wait, how many days
And when
has
you're
it been
depressed,
since
they're
I
not that
showered? Like
simple and they're not that basic. I mean,
maybe
it,
that's
it
all I
takes a
need to
lot of
do.
energy to
Yeah.
take that shower,
Yeah.
when you're deep in it.
Yeah.
So,
Maybe put on a clean pair of pajamas.
or not, or
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. But if you need that little boost, like I just need
Yeah.
something to make me feel less icky.
Yes.
You don't have to put on real clothes, just a fresh pair of pajamas, you know?
Love it. Love it. Absolutely.
Good.
So,
Well, thank you, Adrienne, so much for being here and for sharing your story and for all of the light you're putting into the world and the work that you're doing. I appreciate you.
Thank you very much, Janet. It's truly been a privilege to be here with your audience, with you. And I've had a really good time talking with you. So, I mean, I know it's weird to say that given the subject matter, but no, I've
But
had a
that's
really good time, and I'm
good.
grateful that you gave me the space and the audience. So, thank you.
Of course. And that's what we're here to show, right? Like talking about these really dark, heavy subjects, you know, doesn't have to be, these
Mhm.
really difficult, they're still difficult conversations, but you can do it in a heartfelt way.
Yes. Yes. Bring a little lightness to it,
Exactly.
You're allowed to joke about it. You can't, you know, everything can't be just completely despondent and despair and,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Just find somebody to talk about it with, and you'll feel lighter too by the end of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I hope somebody hears this and it helps them. And really with my book, I'd like to be able to have one person's life truly changed. So,
I 100% believe that it will be more than one person.
oh, thank you. You're kind.
I will look for it in October.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Awesome.
Well,
Thank you. Thank you for listening. Remember that you are loved, you are worthy, you are valuable, you are meant for more, and that it really does get better. If you are in crisis, there are numbers that you can call or text to get the help that you need. That information for Canada and the US is in the description below each episode. If you are in immediate crisis, please call 911. We love you, and I hope you'll listen again.